Middle-aged musician here again. Today I'd like to talk about my Bad Cat amp. It's a USA Player Series. It's the Cub 40R. They made this in two different versions. There's basically one with EL84s, which is probably a little bit more voxy, and this one, which I think has EL34s. I'd have to double check. But it's a 40 watt amp. It is more or less a Vox style amp. But a lot of people say it has a little bit of Fender Tweed, Marshall kind of tones to it. I kind of think of it as fairly voxy. It has just a handful of controls. It's a one-channel amp. It does have a foot switch to control two features. One of those features is the ability to basically select between a 12AX7 and an EF86 preamp tube. If you don't know, the early Voxes, the AC15s and that, came with the EF86. They tended to be a little bit more microphonic, so Vox changed over. But you can select that either with a toggle on the front, or if you have the foot switch plugged in, using the foot switch. The other selectable feature is a fat switch, which is just going to kind of make the EQ a little bit fuller. It adds a little bit more gain, a little bit more of everything, I guess you could say. Other than that, let's see, we've just got the treble and bass and volume, and the cut circuit, which is going to be a top cut like you would see on a Vox, and something called the K-Master, which is they claim to be a different kind of master volume circuit. Its claim to fame, as Bad Cat claims, is that it allows you to, rather than using master volume and limiting what gets sent to the power tubes, it allows you to kind of set your volume where you want it, the gain, and then use this K-Master to select the output you want, and you can drive the power tubes as hard as you want, even at low volumes. On the back panel, it does have an effects loop. It's just a basic effects loop. It's not switchable on and off, which is a feature that I really got to appreciate when I had an EVH 5150, where you could select that on and off. Also, it doesn't have a volume send and return like a lot of Mesas do. So it's pretty basic. Two speaker selectors, you switch to select the ohm level, or two speaker outs, and a selector to select 48 or 16 ohm, and the foot switch, and that's a standby and power switch. The neat thing about this is when you put it in standby, the little Bad Cat eyes light up, and then when you put it in full power mode, the whole logo lights up. So I can't deny that was part of the attraction of the amp. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. So I have the Bad Cat here in standby mode. As you can see, the glowing eyes. Okay. Pretty cool. It's been warming up, so I can go ahead and turn it on. I'm just playing again with, it's just Paul Reed Smith. So you can see green, that's 12AX7 preamp. Going through an Avatar 212 load with vintage 30s. Actually not my favorite cabinet with this head, but I think if you buy a Bad Cat, they come with vintage 30s right now. So that's what I have. I can show you. I've got the volume all the way up. I'll just start with the volume about halfway. Put bass in middle, halfway. It does have a digital reverb. It sounds pretty good, but it could kind of do without it. Let's just go ahead and turn the reverb off, cut halfway. Go to single coils in the bridge. I'm going to turn the master up a little bit. It's got that little chiminess. Go back to the humbucking. Go to the bridge, or the neck, I'm sorry, humbucking. Single coil. Back to the bridge. I'm going to turn the bass all the way down. Halfway. Definitely hear that bass coming in. I'm going to go to about 3 o'clock. All the way up. Put it back at the middle. Treble all the way down. Halfway. All the way up. So as you can probably maybe tell, most of the movement in the treble is from about noon up. Under that, it's not really doing a whole lot. Similar to the bass, it's up to about noon is where you get the biggest difference. Cut, I'll go ahead. So all the way up, you get treble frequencies. Really cuts them there. I'm going to leave the cut just about 11 o'clock. I'm going to turn the bass up just a little bit there, treble about there. Usually on a Vox style amp, I kind of set it around like that. Now I'll go ahead and hit the fat switch. I'm going to use a foot switch. So I'll just, you can kind of tell play, and then you'll hear it kind of come on and off. I'll change the preamp. This is 12X7, green, EF86, I think it's, or 4, 6 is red. They call it 4. I think there's like an Oldsmobile model is like an EF80 something, I don't know. I might be confusing with that. EF86, so. Still 12X7. That's an EF86. I'll do the same thing, I'll play and try and do this with one foot where I can control both of these now. So fat switch and the preamp. Okay. Let's turn the volume down just a little bit. It cleans up pretty nicely, but it never gets totally like Fender clean. Let's go up to about 3 o'clock with the preamp. Let's just go all the way up. Change preamp. Add fat switch. Now, their claim is I can turn this up and this will probably overpower the mic pretty quickly, but there's not really... substantial, but it does change. Of course, you're going to overdrive the speaker somewhere there. Turn this down just a little bit. Roll my volume off a little bit. changing attack. Turn my volume back up on my guitar. One of the things I like is there's a reasonable amount of harmonics you get with this amp. You can kind of hear, these extra overtones and that. Turn it down a little bit more. Just for the sake of comparison, just keep this thing pushed, and I'm going to change out the speaker. So I'm going to go from the 212 vintage 30s to the 212 Reeves. You hear it's a little more brittle, woody, but a little stiffer. Back to vintage 30, and just for giggles, let's go to a set of old Fanes from the 80s. A lot more mid. So. Vintage 30s. The Fanes from the 80s. And then the Reeves. I'll go back to the vintage 30s. So that sounds pretty good. I think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the reverb. We haven't even talked about the reverb. So the reverb is digital reverb. I mean, that's at 3 noon. I mean, it's almost Fendery. He's lost in space here. I usually keep it around 2 o'clock. Probably even a little bit under that, maybe about 1 o'clock. So anyway, that's the Bad Kent. I hope you enjoyed it, and do a little bit more with some more gear later. Thanks.